Hi everybody, it's Jade. How is everybody doing? I hope you're doing good. I just wanted to read a story. I know I used to read them a long time ago. I'm going to read a story that I wrote. It's called Don't Close Your Eyes. Jill was a 9-year-old girl who lived in a quiet little town. Most people knew each other and were pretty friendly. She looked out of her bedroom window one morning. It was Saturday. Her blonde hair was blowing in the breeze. Jill! Her mother called from downstairs. Jill immediately turned around. Yeah, Mom? Jill called. Her mom replied. Okay, Mama, Jill answered. She turned back to the window. She looked out and saw a mama bird feeding her little ones. She smiled and picked up the camera near the windowsill and looked back to see if the birds were still there. She smiled when she saw the mama bird was still feeding them. She took a few pictures. Just then she heard her mom call her again. Jill Annabelle Parker, it's time for breakfast. Jill put the camera down quickly and ran downstairs. She sat down at the table waiting for her mother to sit down. Honey, I could use your help. Could you get the orange juice out of the fridge? She asked with a smile. She went to the fridge and grabbed the orange juice, then set it on the table. Jill sat down as her mom brought the plate of pancakes over. Johnny, I got a phone call from your dad, and he wants you to come over today since it's the weekend. Jill's smile turned to a frown. What's wrong, honey? Her mom asked with a worried look on her face. Jill scooped a pancake onto her plate just as her mom told her that her dad had called. But now she was just sitting there looking down at it. I just don't want to go, Jill answered defiantly. Now there's no reason for that tone in your voice, her mom replied as she put a pancake on her plate and began buttering it. Jill grabbed her knife and stabbed it into the butter. She began to spread it over the pancake. She put her knife down and leaned her head on her hand. Mom, can I be excused? She asked. Honey, you've not even touched your pancake, her mom said as she scooped a bit of pancake on her fork. She set her fork down. Honey, talk to me. Ever since your dad and I got a divorce, you don't want to go see him. I thought you two used to be close. So what's up? Her mom inquired. It's just, Jill sat there with a blank expression on her face. I have to send you to your dad's, or we'll end up in court. And neither one of us want to end up in court because you'll have to go when they tell me you have to go, her mom explained. Okay, I guess I'll go, Jill sighed just over a whisper. That's my girl, her mom exclaimed. Now eat your pancake before it gets cold. Okay, Jill answered and grabbed her knife and fork and started cutting it up. She poured syrup on it and began stuffing it into her mouth. Goodness, what bad manners we have this morning. Jill's mother looked up in surprise. Later, after they were finished putting the dishes in the sink, Jill's mom washed and Jill dried. Better get upstairs and get yourself ready for your visit with your dad. He'll be here in about half an hour. She put the syrup and butter away. Okay, Mama, Jill sighed. She headed for the stairs. She got her backpack and stuffed some books in there that she'd need to read for homework, and her spelling paper so she could use the words in a sentence, like she did every Friday. Just then the phone rang. Maybe he's changed his mind, Jill happily thought to herself. She waited to see if it was her dad. Honey, your dad wants you to stay overnight, Jill's mom called from downstairs. Oh no, Jill cried and fell on her bed. Her mom came upstairs to take some laundry downstairs. She heard Jill crying and knocked on her door. Come in, Jill said as she wiped her tears away and picked up her backpack and put it on her bed. She pretended she was looking to see if everything was in there that she wanted. Honey, what's wrong? Her mom asked. You're going to need to use a bigger bag than that, honey, she told her. Okay, Jill answered, and went to her closet to get her little suitcase. It was perfect for things like slumber parties or a trip for a day or two. She went to work putting the things from her backpack into her suitcase and threw some clothes in without thinking about what she was doing. Honey, what are you doing? Her mother asked with a giggle. She picked up the clothes and put a few back. Mama, I can pack myself. I just turned 9, Jill insisted. Well, okay, her mom replied. The doorbell rang. Oh man, Jill thought, and threw the last book in the bag and zipped it up. She grabbed a sweatshirt with a hood on it and zipped it up halfway. Jill's mom came to the door and looked out. It was Jill's dad. She opened the door. Hello, Lorraine. He greeted her with a smile. Hi, Jim, she said, smiling. Where's my princess? He called. She's upstairs. Let me call her. Jill, I'm coming, Mama, Jill answered sadly as she dragged her suitcase to the top of the stairs and put a fake smile on her face. Oh, let me get that, princess, her dad said and went upstairs. He planted a kiss on her cheek. Then he turned around and carried it down the steps. Jill used her sleeve to wipe the kiss away. She followed her dad down the stairs. He took the suitcase to the car, and her mother hugged Jill sweetly and kissed her. Be a good girl for your dad, she said as she watched her walk out to the car. Okay, she answered quietly as her dad put the suitcase in the truck. I'll see you tomorrow, hon, her mom called sweetly. Bye, Mama, Jill called as Jill's dad got in the truck. In the truck, Jill's dad shut the door and looked at Jill, who was sitting beside him. Jill's mom smiled, closed the door, and went inside. Jill's dad looked at her and asked, Jill, we're going to have fun, right? He asked. Yeah, Jill replied. He pulled the truck out of the driveway. I've missed you, babe, her dad said brightly. I missed you too, Dad, she replied hesitantly. Jim sat there looking through radio stations. He drove the truck along, humming to the radio and tapping on the steering wheel. They drove for about 15 minutes before they got to his apartment building. He pulled up and turned the truck off. He picked up her suitcase and she took her backpack when they walked in. They stood in the lobby while they waited for the elevator to come down. Finally, it came down and they went in. Nobody else was in there but them. Jim pressed 12. She thought this looked like a nicer apartment building than the place he lived in before. Finally, they arrived on floor 12. His neighbor was standing there in a pair of slippers, a blouse, and a pair of pants. Oh, hello, Jim. How are you doing? Oh, I haven't seen your daughter yet. She's so cute, she went on. She was all hunched over. I've got to go down and check the mail. I better do that now before I forget, she said. Jill looked up, smiling. I can help you. Why don't you let me go check the mail? He took Jill by the arm. I'm sorry, Jim, but my daughter needs to help me with something, he said. Aw, Dad, but I could. I'm sorry, Miss Watson, he said as he took Jill by the arm. That's all right, the woman said and stepped on the elevator. The doors closed. He closed the apartment door and brought her inside his apartment. I could have helped her. She's all hunched over and she tried to explain, but he cut her off. Come on, Pumpkin, we're going to have fun, he said as he brought her in. He said as he brought her into his living room. Okay, Dad, Jill replied. Thanks for watching. I'll be seeing you on the next video, everybody. Thanks for watching. I hope you have a great day. Goodbye, goodbye, goodbye.